lesson I learned is that you shouldn't fall in love, you should grow in love, right? That's the number one lesson. And what that means, if I wanted to expand on that, that just means that you want to give yourself an opportunity to see a person's behaviors over the course of time. So we met, I want to say it was 2014, like April, probably 2014. Yep. This relationship in particular has become a basis for a whole concept for an album, right, that I put together. But more or less the qualities that attracted me to her, they were like her unselfishness, like she was mad unselfish. She was driven herself. She was, you know, as they say, altruistic. So she was willing to give, and she was smart too. She was smart, she was a planner, she was a hustler. Obviously she was fine too physically, but it was all the other intangible qualities. Those are the qualities that will make me be attracted to a girl. So things outside of just the way she look or whatever, like how her body's built. Of course I want that too, but it's the other things that'll make me want to consider something more. What went wrong, man, was realistically, it was me. It was me not being honest with myself, right? So I saw that the relationship was trending in the direction where she liked me, and I liked her a lot too, right? But I know that at that time, my life and my lifestyle was one that I was focused on very specific things, and I had a very specific mission and goals that I'm trying to get to. However, you know, I sort of allowed myself to give in to something that I really didn't want to be a part of. So, you know, one time in our many communications, she sort of communicated to me that she wanted to be in a relationship. And I didn't know how to say no, realistically, right? Because I was like, I see all these good qualities in her. I don't want to miss those good qualities in her, per se. So, you know, I think it was wrong for me to see those good qualities, but then to not be confident enough to say, hey, look, I see those good qualities in you, but I'm still not ready for a relationship. And ultimately, what I came to the realization of is, if you get to that point where someone says they want to be in something with you and you're not ready, you tell them you're not ready, right? And at that point, they have a decision to make. You know, they have a decision to determine if they want to continue going forward with you in this sort of like ambiguous realm. But I think if y'all like each other, it's nothing wrong with moving forward and exploring that. Well, I think the number one lesson I learned is that you shouldn't fall in love, you should grow in love, right? That's the number one lesson. And what that means, if I wanted to expand on that, that just means that you want to give yourself an opportunity to see a person's behaviors over the course of time, right? What a person says ultimately should be taken with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at their actions over the course of time. So that's the number one thing I learned, is that you want to give a person the opportunity to show their full selves before you can really say if you want to move forward in anything and be persuaded to be a part of anything, right? Even by your emotions, because your emotions might be overwhelming you and overtaking you, but you should still give yourself an opportunity to observe a person. Then the number two thing, which is a bit ironic, I learned that a person could love you and betray you all in the same hand, right? So, you know, it's kind of deep, but, you know, a person could love you and do things for you and put you on even, but all the while be human enough to make mistakes. So I think what I've learned is that I give people the grace of like being human, and I don't come into a situation where I feel like I'm putting unrealistic expectations on anyone, right? I don't look at a person or a girl and I try to observe a girl and like get to know the context of how her relationships are with her family, what her relationship is like with her dad, all that good stuff. I want to know that. But even with that, I don't let that make me think that she's going to be one way or another, right? I don't say because a girl has her dad in her life that she would never cheat, for example, or that she would never be compromised to make a move that's not really becoming of a noble woman per se, right? So I think if we're talking about love, losses, and lessons, it's only appropriate that I bring these things up because not everybody's in the same space of relationships that I'm in, or they might be going through something and coming into an awareness of some of the things that I'm talking about. But either way, I think for me, my path forward, regardless, is I don't care. I don't really care. Like I can't really be bothered by like what my girl is doing. I I wouldn't even look at the comments that are on my girl's Instagram just because I don't want to get distracted. I gotta focus. You know what I'm saying? I got a daughter. My daughter's counting on me to be 100 and on point and on my square at all times because I gotta provide for my daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just don't focus in minor and I major in the minors. I try to focus on the major things. Just for the sake of having a discussion about the project because it's relevant to love, losses, and lessons, right? This project was more or less going to be based off of the flow of what took place before me meeting this girl, and then what happens it sort of ends with where I'm at this space of my life, or like right before I get to this space of my life. Because I feel like this space of my life, I'm in a transition where to God's grace and glory, things are on a upward trajectory right now, and writing about being on an upward trajectory is different than writing about being in a love heartbreak situation, right? Because I'm talking about things that's going on at work. I'm talking about my daughter now. It's like I'm not, and of course I'm talking about love too, and I'm talking about women that I'm attracted to, but it's like, it's a different perspective per se. But anyway, so that project, it starts out with me kind of being focused and locked in on what I'm doing. That's why I say I've learned to ignore distractions. So I'm focused, I'm locked in on what I'm doing. And then I meet this girl, and then it's sort of like I'm still focused and locked in on what I'm doing. I'm focused and selfish about that. But then at some point, I start to just kind of like give that up, and I start to lose myself, and I start to bend on things that I would have normally been dedicated to. I'm no longer in the studio like how I was in the studio. I think at that point, I was probably like promoting in the clubs. I think I quit. I was like, I just want to be with Bay. You know what I'm saying? It's cuffing season, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be with Bay all winter, fall long, whatever. But I think, yeah, so that's kind of where it starts. And then it shows how like by me getting distracted from what was my purpose and my purpose becoming my girl, how that just ultimately causes the breakdown of lots of different things, you know what I'm saying? Just lots of different things sort of fall by the wayside because the thing that brought her into my life that made her attracted to me was that I was focused here. You know what I'm saying? But now my focus is there. So, it just is a different vibe. But that was the concept of that project. And really it was a project initially in my mind that was slated to sort of speak to the concept of falling in love versus growing in love, right? And why the latter is better. It would be February for the project, regardless. But will it be that particular concept? I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to lock myself in. I want to let myself be creative, however it comes out. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm looking. But in the meantime, I'm certainly going to be having songs coming out more consistently now. My first single off of the project, regardless of what the project is going to be titled at this point, is Quarter Vibe. So Quarter Vibe comes about because it's kind of like speaking to the realest part about myself, which I realized that through the years, the thing that I'm attracted to a girl who has good conversation and has a strong mind. Like, there's three types of conversation. There's talking about people, there's talking about events, and then there's talking about ideas, right? I like a girl who can kind of touch on all three, but I like a girl who likes to be at the highest level, which is like ideas. So this song is about more or less having kind of like being on a date, like on a date night with a girl, and y'all having that conversation that makes you say, whoa, fuck, like I'm incredibly attracted to this girl, and I want to like take things further. I'm an adult, you know what I mean? Whatever. How, you know, you're an adult. Y'all adults too. Y'all know what that means. Listen to the song and you'll figure it out. But it's more or less having that conversation. There's a such thing as being a sapiosexual, right? A person who likes engaging conversations and that turns them on, like intellectual conversation. That's what I am. So this song is speaking to that. And it's speaking to like sort of being with a girl who takes you to that place, and then you kind of start imagining what it would be like if y'all were intimate on a physical space outside of being intimate in a mind space. It's like y'all having mind sex, and it makes you want to have actual sex. Any last words on love, man? Love is real. I feel like love creates, and that's the sentence right there. Love creates. It creates lots of different things. It creates people. It creates art. It creates product. You know what I'm saying? So love creates, and love is a powerful force. Believe in love, it is real, but guard your heart. Try not to fall in love. Focus more on trying to grow in love, right? Give yourself some time to get to know the person. And that's really all I gotta say, man. My name is Sneed Music, the sexiest physicist to ever sing R&B and rap. You know what I'm saying? Yacht Club, shout out Yacht Club, the youngest on Top Club. Shout out my brother Lysious. Thank you for having me, man. Shout out Howard University. Yo-Yo, 2 Times Apparel. Shout out my brothers at Bison Corner. Shout out my daughter, Sky. Her mother, my mother, my father, who loved each other to all make all of us. And that's really all I got, man. I'm signing out. Oh yeah, I know you're the light.